Hello everyone and welcome to today's edition of Banter with Barker, wherein today I will be in conversation with a young lady from America but who resides in Bangkok, Thailand, and her name is Jeninne Lee-St.John. She's the new editor-in-chief of Travel+Leisure magazine, Southeast Asia. Jeninne has been with that particular title, which celebrates the world's finest destinations. She's been writing for them and working with that magazine for coming up on a decade now, but has just assumed the helm at Travel+Leisure. So yeah, we're going to be discussing with her the complexities of heading up a magazine dedicated to world travel in a time when travel is a little bit difficult to do. Just waiting for her to join us now. Hope you're all doing well today. I'm watching this live and or watching back on the recording. And of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, please do fire away and we will do our very, very best to attend to those online. I believe Jeninne is joining us in a moment. From a glamorous location on the roof, on the very roof of Bangkok. Is that right? Hello there.
Hi.
Where exactly are you joining from, Jeninne?
I am on the top of Mahanakhon Sky Bar, which is the tallest building the tallest viewing deck, the tallest elevator, and the tallest restaurant in Bangkok, in Thailand, awesome. I think. Yeah.
I think a couple of times. Is that the feature in the movie The Hangover Volume 2?
No.
No?
No, that's a different place called Labua, which was, was at one point quite famous. It was the tallest, I think, a long time ago, but not for a while.
Out of date stuff. Got your finger on the pulse of local travel.
Now, can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the light is in and out a little bit. Glad to see that you have a frosty beverage there, and
I do.
I try to drink something non-alcoholic when I do these things because I like to maintain an air of professionalism, as you know. But if I'm forced to drink alone, I do have the day. So cheers to you. Thank you.
Cheers. Yeah, I can't be on a roof without a cocktail.
No, exactly. Well, look, it's lovely to be chatting with you today, and thank you for setting up such a cool location. That was really great.
Yeah, my pleasure. We did some acrobatics to get this to work, so hopefully we'll. Our Wi-Fi is pretty hard at the top of the earth, so let me know if it cuts out, and we'll figure something else out. Okay,
no, we'll be fine. Now,
okay.
Obviously, you've been working I don't know. I think you've been working at Travel+Leisure magazine for a decade now.
Almost 8 years, yeah.
Okay. That's close enough to a decade. And you've just assumed that helm, and this is the first time we've spoken since then. So congratulations.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Super sorry. I can only hear like half of what you're saying. I wonder if it's our connection from up here.
Okay. Possible.
You should turn off the Wi-Fi and just try your data.
Okay, hold on one sec.
Yeah. Bear with us. Jeninne is up on the in a very, very high spot where often connections can be a little bit dodgy. I often find here in Singapore when we're on one of the taller buildings, we end up hooked up to Indonesian or Malaysian. Can you hear me, Jeninne?
I can. Now it's off of Bluetooth. Hold on.
We'll get there. Don't worry, folks. Bear with us.
Also, the whole thing is like.
Okay. Now, are we good?
Hello. I
Yeah.
can hear you, but now you're just on.
Please bear with us while we.
Yes.
All right. So yes. Good.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
no, no.
All better.
These are the perils and good times of live television, live broadcast. Of course, congratulations on
Thank you.
the editor in chief. That's amazing.
Thanks very much. It's kind of a weird time to take over a travel magazine, and especially, I mean, everyone with like job insecurity and with sort of everyone's life insecurity. I kind of felt bad being happy about it, but I feel like there's a lot we can do, and there's a lot of stories to tell. And even while we can't travel just yet, there's a lot of things that people are thinking related to travel that our writers want to share, and photographers also. So.
No, obviously, no, he's like, does it feel?
I can't hear him.
It must be the internet.
Oh no. I feel like
Move
I
close.
lost you again.
Yeah.
I know. Hello? What? Say it again.
Hello.
Is this better? Is it better?
Is it better for you? Can you hear me better?
No, I can't. I don't know what. I'm really sorry. I think it's the Wi-Fi at the top of the earth. I don't know how to fix this. Maybe I need to go downstairs. Let's see. Can you speak more words, Christian?
Okay.
Yeah, no. No love. Yeah. Okay, let me move inside.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. We'll stick with you.
Let me give you, yeah. Should I give him a tour? Okay, I'm going to give you a visual tour of where, okay, first. This is beautiful Bangkok at just before sunset. We've got like an hour, a couple hours of light left. That's, if you never thought Bangkok was green, that's the Green Long over there. It's part of the city proper, but it's only small residential villages and stuff. It's pretty cool, actually. This is Lumpini Park and everything that you might be used to seeing. Can you grab my stuff? Okay, hold on. Instagramming. So this, check it out. Can you see this? This is an indoor garden in the Mahan Koan Sky Tower. It's pretty awesome, actually. And this elevator, pretty good. Okay, I'm going to the restaurant now.
So is this a typical hangout spot for you, Jeninne?
We were just hoping that the Wi-Fi would work better inside. Seems better.
You might pick up. But whatever.
Can you hear me? We could just mime to each other.
I can hear you perfectly. Yeah.
Oh, that's so annoying. Yeah, okay. What if we reconnect on a different phone?
Okay. Sure.
Okay, so sorry. We'll be right back.
No worries. Okay, I'll just keep chatting, going.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everyone. But I'm sure Jeninne will be back very, very, very soon. These things happen. The perils of modern technology, huh? I do seem to have my full bars of full blazing fast Wi-Fi going at the moment, so I do not think it's my fault, but yeah, we'll get back there. We'll get back there. In the meantime, if anyone has yeah, sort of any questions that they'd like to raise and pose to Jeninne, who is, as we were kind of saying, undergoing the very difficult task at the moment of yeah, putting out a magazine dedicated to travel when sadly most of us are stuck within our national or even sometimes our state borders, and many of us are still actually stuck inside our homes and yeah, slowly emerging out into the light. Thank you, Little Happy Ideas, for letting me know we're clear now. Gucci 4301555, what do you mean, what brand? If you want to know what brand of Wi-Fi routers I use, I'm down with the Google Mesh setup, and I find that they do a great job getting the Wi-Fi throughout my house. Today I am wearing a jacket by Xenia, a shirt by Brooks Brothers, and a pocket square from a young American designer, name of Tom Ford. That was your question about what brand. Fast Technology Solutions. I'm rolling with the Google, but yeah, you know, that's just one of many options. But I think the mesh setup seems to do a pretty good job. Pretty good job. I live in a multi-story house, so it's. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, nice little jacket from. Hermenegildo Xenia, in quite a tropical sky blue cloth, which I thought was appropriate given the Sky Lounge setting for conversation today with Jeninne. There we go. She is back once again. Thanks for sticking with us, everyone. Got Jeninne reconnecting.
Hello. So sorry. Okay.
Oops. Do you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Much better.
Okay. What technology are we on now? Did we switch from a?
We switched to an Apple phone with ear pods. So let's see if this works.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
There's something to be said for the products of our friends from Cupertino, isn't there?
I guess I'm still not converted, but you know.
I've only had the only times I've encountered sort of trickiness with these things has been when it's a Huawei or whatever. But
what?
but look,
are you serious? Discrimination against Google products.
The only previous I've had Wi-Fi difficulties is with guys in New York. New York have terrible Wi-Fi and terrible phone connection. Anyway, we're not here to talk about technology.
No, I'm so sorry.
We're not getting quiet,
I don't know much about that.
But yeah, let's jump back to exactly.
Okay, you talk. I'll listen.
All right, exactly. Well, I'll say cheers once again. Wet my whistle a little bit, but no, I was asking about. Oh, I was relating the fact that Noel Gallagher of Oasis, you know, he once remarked about his brother Liam and how grumpy he was. He said he's like a man in a world of soup who only has a fork. Is that what putting out a travel magazine when basically, you know, the airports are pretty locked down, and I know in Thailand you can kind of get around domestically a little bit, but yeah, your style is cramped, isn't it?
It is. It's cramped in that one. My lifestyle is cramped because I obviously love traveling, and I haven't been in Thailand for this long well, ever, right? It's been so many months. But it also, right, is cramped because all of our writers live around the region and they also can't go anywhere, which is not to say that they don't have good stories to tell. I mean, there's one thing that we're trying to do in the next issue is talk about places that you've rediscovered in your hometowns, maybe visually by photographers, or maybe like places that Travel and Leisure might not necessarily have written about in the past, but like have become more important, more like comforting, more even, you know, for a broad range of readers, like even for like luxury market people would be like, what are your like neighborhood go-tos, stuff like that. And then things that kind of thing is actually super interesting to people who come visit later. So we're having people sort of write their own little home diaries, like little happy ideas, who was commented earlier. So write their own sort of experiences of being home, but in a way that's still accessible and useful to our readers. So, I mean, and especially regarding food, that's like the only way I think we can talk about food at the moment, because there's so much instability in the restaurant industry until tourism comes back.
Yeah. Where do you think things are kind of headed? What's your gazing into the crystal ball, your perspective on where travel is going to be with luck in 6 months, 12 months, 12 years?
So mean. What a question. The perennial question. Okay, so these are the words I'm going with. Intimate and meaningful and mindful. So people wanting to sort of, I think that the one really interesting thing about taking that break, even though it was it felt like forever, but it was actually quite a brief period of time in our lives. I don't think that's going to fully change, obviously, the way that anybody exists, but I do think that it's going to change. It has changed sort of the way we look at being introspective, the way we look at nesting, the way we look at sort of bonding with our friends and our loved ones. And so I think that even in taking it grand adventures, people are also going to be looking for it to have some sort of like both personal but also like intimate feeling. So whether that's like solo travel, which was like a big thing coming up and is getting bigger, especially among women, or whether it's getting villas and togethering together with your friends or your, you know, far-flung loved ones, like that kind of thing, where you just get a sense of like something soulful out of it. I think that's something that people are going to be looking for. And I think that people are looking for it already in terms of the way hotels are moving, in terms of like, not just all villa resorts, meaning like your couple villa, but like mass only villa resorts or buyout resorts and that kind of thing. I also think that hopefully, and it already seems to be happening, that there's been time to get greener. There are, I mean, some hotels took this time during like when they couldn't be open, right, to embark on renovations that they've wanted to for ages, or they took a break from their what like the path was, and are like taking a look deeper at how they can be better for the earth and their communities. And this is something that we've been trying to push like slowly. But now I think this is going to be like a main point of mine to tackle, is that I love luxury, right? I love it. I love champagne and big beds and private pools. But I also think that we all, right, have responsibility to make sure that the people whose communities that we're coming into not just like benefit by jobs, but like have some sort of buy-in. And we have a responsibility to sort of pay attention to what's going on back of house, not just whether there's no plastic bottles in your room, but also like where your wastewater is going, that sort of thing. And the newer hotels that are coming online now, even often like at the top end, are like the gilded castles, right, are also paying attention to this sort of thing. So I think that's super important.
Well, luxury for a long time has been moving away from the gilded castle as well, hasn't it? You know,
You're right.
It's really not about the what's often referred to as sort of the gold taps in the bathroom and all of that sort of thing. I think we're starting to think of what luxury is differently. But on the sustainability and green front, I think that the tricky thing is that with everything that we're going through now, we were really making great strides in eliminating plastics and single-use doodads from our lives. And now people are going to be demanding that stuff more because they don't want to touch something that someone else has touched for them.
Yeah.
Which it's a bit of a yeah.
Well, so you know what, Christian, I actually want to know, are people going to be demanding that? Like, it is a thing that has to be done. Like, not one luxury or whatever, actually in general, not one hotel is able to come out of this and not wrap all their stuff in plastic and make sure everything is disinfected, and like spend a lot of money and resources to do all of this like clean stuff. And like, it absolutely does need to be done. But I also wonder how much is like customer desire, right? So much as just let's get on with this. And I think maybe you're right. We're going to be wasting a lot of stuff, but I don't know. I don't know how long these measures might be in place. Like maybe it's a 9/11 situation and like all of the airlines and everything and your whole life changes, but maybe it's like a 6 months vaccine. Okay, let's unwrap our glasses from the plastic and be done with it. Oh, I hope so, right?
Yeah, I love that sense of optimism. I think that people are probably going to be traveling less but better, and that instead of lots of as we in Singapore, probably you in Bangkok, or a lot of people in we'll just zip off to Phuket or Bali or whatever for the weekend. Or if you're living in London, you might nip over to Ibiza or Paris or Barcelona, whatever it may be. And I think if traveling itself becomes slightly more difficult, then we're probably going to look at, instead of doing 5 mini trips, doing 1 or 2 really kind of more substantial journeys where you try one place, stay there for a serious kind of amount of time. Do you think? I don't know. Do you concur, or do you think?
I do. I agree. I also think that no matter what trip you take, you're going to want it to have a deeper meaning. Like I think they'll be longer, because it's a pain, right? Once things are annoying, then you do it less, at least for a while. And I mean, even personally, right? Thailand has been open for a while, but I haven't left Bangkok yet because I haven't felt like there's something there's lots of places I'd be happy to go, but I haven't really felt like there's something I really need to do. And I'm like kind of embarrassed. So my first trip out of Bangkok after COVID is to Pattaya this weekend. But it's for a good reason. It's because 2 of my friends are in a sailing regatta. So like we're going to cheer them on. And that's like that gave it enough like purpose to me to sort of get over the hump of, because what's been awesome is that like as the city has reopened, there's been sort of incrementally new things to do and people you can see that you haven't seen for a while. So now like now this is the thing I'm going to do, but don't anyone listening, don't tell anyone. This is my first trip outside the city.
Your secret is very, very safe with me.
Thanks.
I think also that for quite some time, the sort of influence of these sort of aggregate review websites has been quite dominant. Whereas if you really, if you can only travel twice a year, and you really need to know for absolute dead certain that you're not going to be wasting your time, you're not going to be wasting your money, you're not going to be wasting your effort on one of, maybe 1 or 2 holidays that you can do in a year, you really will be looking for authoritative voices and criticism that is reliable and trustworthy. And I hope that's going to see consumers of travelers falling a little bit back more on people such as yourself and myself.
Yourself.
Who who, who bring, I guess, an experienced and critical eye to making value judgments
Yeah.
on these experiences. And yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think people often ask us, why we don't do reviews in that, like, you went to this place and you hated it, right? And I'm like, well, I only have so many pages.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is like spend our time telling you the quality things to do, not, slamming on someone to an entire continent, right? Like an experience that you might have had. But yeah, you're super right. I'd actually would be really, that is a major point that I haven't actually thought about, but as to how sort of the lifestyle and travel blogger and aggregator and that kind of level will be changing in the future, because that is definitely going to be different. I think you're right. We have like a responsibility to help guide people make, you're right, bigger, important decisions. But it will be interesting to see like what the smaller players are able to do even in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look,
I wish I knew.
I well realize the type of stuff that I write about, which is fashion and luxury goods and food and wine and travel and things. It's not going to a war zone, or it's not doing a 12-month investigation of one of society's ills or crimes. But at the same time, we have a huge responsibility, and I think when it comes to travel, it's one of the really big ones that some people only get 10 days off a year.
Yeah.
Most Americans
My whole country, yeah.
Pardon?
My whole country, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're only getting 10 days, and that's the 2 weeks of quality time that you're going to be spending with your family, and you're putting everything into that, you don't want it to end up like National Lampoon's Vacation, do you? You want
Certainly not.
be absolutely perfect. And I absolutely agree with you that from an editorial standpoint, it's fun to read bad reviews, yeah, sure, but having an attitude of, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all, and devoting space that you do have to really cool stuff and highlighting the good stuff, that's definitely the better approach.
Yeah. Thanks. We agree.
No, we agree,
Yeah,
absolutely.
agree.
But I think it's also it's an important job to ensure that and I have had to say on a couple of occasions in the past, PR people, listen, guys, the experience was not up to scratch, and I am not going to lie about the experience that I had. And if you want me to write about it, it ain't going to be good. So maybe we should just move quietly.
Call it a day. Shake hands and move on. Hey, you have two daughters, right? Have you and your wife and kids gone on a staycation yet in Singapore?
No, well, that's just. I think it was just this week that they've said, okay, you can do that. Because last week you certainly couldn't. So no, we haven't done that yet. But I am, really looking forward to doing that. I've been watching a lot of my travel journalist friends in Hong Kong, seemingly staying at a different swanky 5-star hotel, and very enjoying themselves. So it'll be nice to have some sort of different surrounds around me rather than my own home. After nearly, it's coming up on 90 days that we've been, really spending virtually all our time at home, which is
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's only, because it felt, I guess, to everybody, right? It felt longer, but we didn't have that long of a period trapped in the house, which is like, thank goodness. But
yeah, well, look, I think we're both lucky. We both live in sort of tropical paradises, so
it's true.
Things could certainly be worse. And I see the Maldives is opening up as well, so maybe.
That's true. It's not far. Although you could have always gotten there on a private plane. There were a few resorts that still had guests throughout.
Jeninne, you'll have to lend me your private craft.
As if maybe we can all go together.
I had to sell mine when I lost a couple of zeros off my net worth when drama hit. I'm curious to know what criteria do you have when you're looking at something to cover? Obviously, we can't only write about the super high end, and there's also the fact that that there are many wonderful experiences and places to visit that are not necessarily crazy expensive. So it's not
Yeah.
just looking at money is no object getaways and things. What do you look for? And now that you're in very much in the driver's seat for the magazine, what are you going to be pursuing and looking to give coverage to?
You are totally right. That's a sort of misconception, right? When you call something a luxury travel magazine, that everything is, like you said, gilded faucets and toilet seats. I mean, the purpose is, I mean, our readers spend money. Our readers have money, they spend money and they travel, but they don't, it's an average, right? So everyone doesn't have that much money. A lot of it's aspirational. A lot of what we write about is aspirational for many people. But also luxury doesn't mean being locked in a beautiful tower, right? It means that there's some sense of there's a sense of proper service. There's there's a sense that you're getting like a value. Not, I mean, okay, super expensive hotels you can sort of debate, but there is a value. You could figure out right what the value proposition is. And so what we're trying to do is sort of talk about the smaller players who are, okay, here's one that I love. I just heard about this travel agency in New Zealand who does butchery classes. So you go
Okay.
hang out with them and you also learn how to slaughter a pig. Okay, that's not for everyone, but I do think that if you have the right experience in such a way that that counts as luxury, right? Because it's about everything. We had said this before, right? Where travel was moving, or especially luxury, and then everyone follows, is experience based. Is doing something to fulfill your soul and feel like you got something out of it than just lounging around at a beautiful pool, which you can do also afterwards, perhaps. So there are ranges. There are campsites where they'll leave you on an island and you have to sort of fend for yourself. But I mean, the stuff that you're fending for is sort of pre-planted organic vegetables and adorable tiffins, and everything's, recycled and beautifully hand built out of bamboo and stuff like that. So the point is, it's a broad spectrum, as long as the feeling that you get out of the visit is nice. I don't know how to say anything more clearly than it just can't be dirty, right? You know what? You can be dirty, but you can get grubby. You can get your hands dirty in the mud, but you just don't want to feel like the place is not clean or up to standard or that sort of thing. Does that help?
Yeah. No, I mean, I just think we both live in cities where I think particularly in the culinary side of things, you or I can both easily go out and have the most incredible, mind-blowing meal for $5.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah. Well,
one.
I don't know. I went out today and got a huge thing of takeaway satays, chicken and prawn satays, and it cost less than 20 Singapore dollars, and that's an incredible meal. But I also love a $500 degustation as well. Don't get me wrong.
Tell me about it. I posted on Instagram my first 12-course meal after COVID, and one of my friends texted me. She was like, "So I think this is hilarious. Not too many people can write yay, I'm back out again, drinking having a wine pairing dinner post-COVID," meaning that there were so many more to come, as a matter of course. But but yeah, but you're right. Also the street food, also and you just have to do it in such a way where the people feel cared about. That's kind of my point. Like
Hmm.
whether it's a self-guided situation and they're just like feel like they're exploring it themselves, and some people are more independent like that, and or you give them a guide, but the guide is like a proper on the ground, understands sort of the questions you're asking and isn't speaking and rote sort of perfunctory speech like patterns, and instead sort of you'll take someone on the walk, and if they say, oh, I don't like this, or I'm not interested in this, or I don't feel this, then they can improvise on their feet. Like that's the thing that people care about, right? Is being like to feel like they've been taken care of in some way. That's like I think the heart of luxury, no matter whether it's like a camp on the beach or a tall skyscraping building.
Yep, yep. Or gentleman has just joined us, coming from the tallest volcanic.
Wow, how can you hear us? How's your Wi-Fi up there?
Very good, very good. No, going back to just what you were saying, and I think, for many years now we've been hearing about how, the hotel industry, hospitality is really, at threat from the sort of Airbnbs of the world. And I've stayed in a number of Airbnbs, and they've all been really nice. But having some dude turn up on a moped and hand you a key, and maybe the owner has left a bottle of wine and some instructions and stuff for you. Okay, that's fine, but it's not a patch on staying at a traditional hotel where you've got concierge, you've got maybe a butler in your room or your villa. Just all of those extra levels, and perhaps with this situation, we're going to be, less the tendency to pick an Airbnb which not have the same standards of cleanliness and things that hotels are held to.
Yeah. That's a good point. And another good point related to that is that, I mean, I love cooking, but I never ever cook living here in Bangkok. It's not necessary. And I eat out for work all the time, and it's cheap etc. But during quarantine, I cooked all the time. And at some point, like my friends and I were saying, I just don't want to cook anymore. Like I don't, even ordering food, right, is a process because you have to get it and then you have to take it out of the packaging and you have to present it and then the cleanup. And I mean, that is one thing where it's like, set me free. And like, I want the service. And I think that speaks to what you're saying about people wanting to stay in a hotel again, wanting to sort of maybe be taken care of, like, I mean, it could be like they used to, or it could be more than they had before, just because they want to break free of quarantine.
I think we sound really spoiled in this conversation.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Anyway, my back's, I need my ivory back scratcher to just get the back. The thing that really struck me while we were all locked away, and I did, speaking of, ordering in food and things, and I did order some stuff from beautiful restaurants, and it would often come beautifully packaged and beautifully presented, but just it's not the same eating it at your dining room table and having it come in even when it is in nice environmentally friendly boxes, and it's beautifully presented, but it's come off the back of a motorcycle, and it's served. You don't have the ambiance, you don't have the music, you don't have the atmosphere of having people around you, and that exquisite sort of personal service that you get in a really good restaurant.
So you brought up Labua at State Tower before, the Hangover movie hotel, and they actually had a service during quarantine where they would send a chef, a som, a butler to your house. They would bring you fresh flowers. They would cook for you, set up your, your table and your wine pairing, serve you, and they would fluff your pillows and give you turn down service.
That would not have been out here in Singapore. You just weren't allowed to, and had to kind of go place the food over there, leave it at the front door. I'll go. But that sounds fun. That sounds cool.
Yeah, crazy. Everyone's like, well, um, I'm not sure how I can justify this in my, urban apartment, but okay. It's just, the kind of thing that hotels to, I mean, partly it's to their credit, right? Because a lot of people were on purpose getting a bit cheeky because they need to keep their names out there. It's been so hard for the industry, and like to come up with something interesting and useful to say in a press release or like on social media has been, I talk to people, it's a struggle. So, stunts like that, whatever you might think about them, but it made me just say it right now on, on your IG live. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? That like I just worry about all the people whose jobs are still in limbo,
Mm,
before tourism comes back. You guys
yeah,
have a lot of both tourists and business travelers. We do too. I mean, it's
it's
so
yeah, and it's got a huge knock-on effect. It isn't just which is why it's kind of annoying when you know Singapore's government has been fantastic with supporting the hospitality trade and people who work in food and beverage and hotels as well as airline
yeah,
that well. But it isn't just you're not only affected if you work for the airline.
yeah,
You're not, you actually directly work for the restaurant or the hotel or whatever it is. You're directly affected when you're a poor travel journalist, such as myself. Who's got my
wait,
boss
we can ask this
now.
person's question. Kieran says, is tourism making a big comeback? uh yes, that's a plan. We say yes. I mean, not right now, but i think that I think long term that this is a temporary issue, that
Yeah,
we've got maybe early 2021, Q1 2021, things will be back. People are ready to go, you know?
yeah. Where are you ready to go to? Where can you not wait when all the borders open again? Where are you most looking forward to getting back to?
Well, wait, so I was actually going to say, I want to go on Rascal. Don't
Uh,
you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, I should, oh, sorry, yes, Koh Samui. But yeah, I can already go there. At any
I
rate,
love.
yeah, I
I
really want to go sailing in Indonesia desperately. I
I,
can't stop thinking about it.
yeah, yeah. I've been wanting to do that one myself for a while. Get with the whale sharks and yeah, yeah. Sounds
Diving, choose your own adventure. So fun. I think we
yeah.
should make this happen.
And look, despite the fact that these places are close to home, I love going to Phuket. I've been there sort of half a dozen um,
Yeah.
last 12 years and always stayed at Trisara
Oh, love Trisara.
because I know, for that same reason that we were talking about earlier, that if I'm going somewhere with my family and I've only got limited kind of holiday time with the fam, you don't want to go somewhere that's a bit of a risk and you don't want to waste too much time traveling. It's good to get on a plane and go for 1 hour and be
Yeah.
you're going to have 2 hours after you've left. Though I think it's probably going to take us a couple of hours to get through the airport for a little
Yeah,
while.
longer than the flight for sure.
Yeah.
You're right. I am super lucky to live in Thailand and have all those places I can go to. I mean, also we can pop over to when the borders are open. Vietnam has a couple of islands and Cambodia as well that are pretty close flights. So, yeah.
Editorially, do you try to focus on Southeast Asia, given that you are a Southeast Asian title, or is your
Indeed. So we are distributed in the 12 countries of Southeast Asia. But and so yes, we do focus on Southeast Asia, but broadly it's Asia Pacific. Um, so that's like, I like to say the stands through the South Pacific. Um, so there's our readers really care about Japan. They
mm,
love Japan, love Australia. Um, So we cover those places quite a lot as well. And also, we like to get sort of the places that don't have necessarily so much of a boom or so many like big brands, but are interesting, like off the beaten path things. We always try to sort of do a story on that, like, a motorbike road trip up in the countryside. We try to get, a Myanmar or Himalayan place in pretty often. There's a lot of wellness stuff. That was the other thing. That was my other tenant. My third place of where hospitality is going. And that, like, the major one, right? We all is wellness. Wellness infusing everything. Everything. So there's actually so two hotels that are going to open here in Bangkok. Well, four new hotels are opening in Bangkok as soon as the world is right again, and they are a Kempinski, a Kimpton, a Capella, and a Four Seasons. Like, it's out of control. Amazing, right? I apologize to the first two because I don't have as much information on them, but the Capella and the Four Seasons, in addition to being like gorgeous on the river, one sort of super boutiquey and the other, like gorgeous, like luxury, are, sorry, both gorgeous luxury, but one smaller, one bigger. But my point was, back to the wellness, is that they're both going to have amazing wellness products, like a whole section, a whole half of the Four Seasons seems like it's the spa, which is insane. And like Capella is going to have like Boga Fit like in their pool. It's like the kind of stuff that you wouldn't have expected an urban hotel. I mean, they're calling them urban resorts, but like an urban hotel to have been required to have in the past. And now, like, there's no choice. Like, in order to make it a hub, this like sort of complex that they're in, but also their individual hotels. In order to make them hubs, they're gonna have to focus on their gyms and their spas and all of the healers and the yogis they're gonna bring in. It's really quite interesting to watch the evolution of that sort of thing. And now when you go to a hotel and you're like, oh, I can only get 2 massages, like, what is this? Right? Not just because I'm spoiled, sorry, but also because it shows a dedication, right, to where the travelers mind is going, where everyone is going, right? Everything that we think, there's a reason that there's quinoa on every menu, and that sort of stuff. It's like trickle down. So
Yeah, this was, when Jeninne and I, for anyone who's watching, first met last year at a travel conference in Bali called Further East. And I think I was explaining to you there, my whole plan for 2020 was for this to be my my year of doing lots of great wellness stuff and kind of writing about the middle-aged man's wellness journey. Not only did I not have any bloody journeys in 2020, but the whole wellness idea has sort of gone out the window. It's been more watching Netflix and drinking gin martinis, which is not exactly the wellness journey that I was really planning on doing with 2020. The year's not out.
that's basically standard life plus not leaving your house.
Well, yes, yeah, definitely. But yeah, with the staying at home and watching Netflix, yeah. But no.
I agree. You're right. That's the thing that, I mean, that not just you, right? That's what the people want. I have to say. I mean, the amount of knowledge that people have from both more scientific processes, like cutting edge stuff, to sort of ancient techniques. Both the consumer is smarter now, and therefore, like, the hotels have to be smarter about it and more integrated, more holistic.
And that plays into you were mentioning that there's a real burgeoning sector there of the single female traveler. I've never been a single female myself, so I don't know. But what are the kind of demands of this new market segment? Well, not a new market segment, but this growing market segment, and what are these ladies looking for in the places that they go to stay?
So that is a very good question. It's not just, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, there was this buzz about sort of the Japanese floors in hotels where it would be like women only floors for safety for like the female travelers who were traveling like without their husbands or just alone. And that was happening not just in Japan, but around the region. But that's not really, that's like sort of a superficial issue. This is more like, I think like the solo female traveler that I was talking about was more, it's more like someone who is looking for sort of the like the women's perspective integrated into the experience that they're having. So there is a company called Intrepid, I think. They're based in Australia. Let me fact check myself. But I want to find out because I think what they're doing is amazing. They have female focused, female led tours to like to Pakistan, right? To India, to Israel. And it's not just women and women traveling together like kumbayaing, but it's also doing things that are important to the women in the place, right? So in certain countries, when you have your period, you're not allowed outside your house or you're not allowed inside the house, and it's quite dangerous. And it's working with activist groups in the, it's not necessarily a volunteerism trip. I need to like make clear, it's sort of a all encompassed, right? Homestay, trek, adventure, eating good food, but also sort of meeting real people on the ground. And if there's a way that is logical to help them, then like you can. There's one of them is involved with the Aga Khan Foundation. One of them is, and it's seamless, right? That's the thing that matters, so that you don't feel tokenized. You don't feel like, oh, like let me roll my eyes for why people, right? Why do they think that I would want this? Somebody thought deeply about these trips, and they've been introducing them over the past couple of years. I think it's super interesting. I'll check.
Okay.
Who it is, but.
Oh, you've got your other phone there. Very, very good. And you were giving a shout out to the latest crop of Bangkok hotels, and this goes into sort of the last thing I'll ask you about.
Okay.
My very last trip before the apocalypse, the current collapse of the world arrived was to Bangkok and staying with my family at the Rosewood there, which
lovely.
They took amazingly good care of my daughters as well as my wife and I, obviously. but it's it's, as I'm sure you're fully aware, it's a beautiful property, great accommodations, great decor, Andre Fu, but
right. One of the best Chinese restaurants in town. It's so good.
But I think from a family perspective, they took amazing care of us, and this seems to me to be a big trend in hotels really upping their game when it comes to taking care of families and accommodating families.
Yeah.
Which what are you seeing in that area that's kind of impressed you, or that strikes you as novel in that area of family?
You're right. I mean, it's definitely grown. I think Asia actually has a lot to do with it because Asian culture, right, is one where you are more likely to travel with your family, be all in. I mean, there's also plus like this newer or the past two, I guess, generations of parents are more likely to also sort of have a more hands-on or like en masse family vacationing approach. So I think both of those things together, I think Asia is actually quite far ahead of much of the world in terms of doing right by families, in terms of sort of making sure that the kids' experience is not just like being shoved off into a kids club, but actually coming up with ways for them to learn, right? Like learning is fun, but like to learn while on site, but also be distracted to, one of the Six Senses had a mini marine biologist program, which they actually were running via like the internet during COVID, but they have a program like that. And like there's lots of hotels that can like take your kids away from you to give them like something enriching. And so like the amount of
Yeah.
money that you're spending on the process is also sort of will come back to you, hopefully, right? They're not just like running around in the dirt. They're maybe not your daughters.
Play like roosters. No, but I get what you mean. They're not just in front of a DVD player and watching a Pixar.
Yeah.
Or,
And like yoga and Pilates and wellness too. There's lots of like mini me programs for kids where it's not mini me in that you can't just take things that are good for grown-ups and give them to kids, but you can, a good spa director or a good kids club person or whatever, right, knows what children need to sort of
engage.
be well, right? Yeah, engage to engage, yeah, but like why their yoga program might be different and how you can like participate with them differently.
Yeah. Hello to Chloe, who's done a virtual.
Hi, Chloe.
Outstanding travel journalist herself.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, look, we're running out of time. Instagram only gives you a very firm 60 minutes, and then they cut you right off. But look, if anyone's got any further questions that they'd like to throw at Jeninne or me, I can answer things too. Please do just post now. But otherwise, it's been great fun chatting with you, Jeninne. Good.
Oh my God, so fun.
Good bit of fun banter. It's always fun having a conversation with you. It's sad that we haven't had another chance to catch up and have a couple of frosty beverages in an exotic locale. But
in a jeepney.
I think that was my only ride in a jeepney.
We're gonna take Chloe on the Rascal with us too. So
first but not last.
Trifecta. Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to catching up with you somewhere 2 meters apart with lots of
plastic shielding. No, glass.
Glassy,
yeah.
Classy glass or classy plastic would be great. But look, it's been super fun talking with you. And
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for dealing with our technical difficulties.
Not at all. Work with what you got. But no, thank you for taking the time out and being so generous with your time and for sorting out an exotic locale. And yeah, look, once again, congratulations on the new gig, and
thank you so much.
All the best with navigating the experience of being a woman with a fork in a world full of soup.
I love soup, so that would just kill me. I just have to like slurp the soup.
You just pick it up and stick it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. On that
right.
note, great chatting with you, and for everyone who's joined us today or who's watching this in the recording. And join me again on Friday. I'll be chatting with an amazing watchmaker from Switzerland, name of Maximilian Busser of MB&F, around about the same time on Friday. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye, Christian.
Thank you. See you soon.